go.
Welcome to the Midwest Game Nerds Podcast. I'm your host, John, and here with me today are Brian.
Hey.
And Alex.
Hello.
Today we've got some game news before we dive into Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, but my iPad replaced it as Senior.
Senior?
Yeah, Senior Shadows Die Twice.
That's depressing.
Yeah.
That
autocorrect, man.
I mean, seniors are pretty good at dying.
Senior Shadows Die Twice.
It's the name of our senior living facility.
Yeah. That's messed up. But before we get to all that, if you want to follow us on social media or see other places you can listen to or watch the show, check out MidwestGameNews.com/links. The Midwest Podcast Network now has a Patreon. The Patreon is meant to benefit all the shows on the network. You can subscribe for as little as $1 a month and help keep our shows alive and well. Check it out at mpn.bz/Patreon. There will only be like one more season of Gone to Texas is what it sounds like.
Maybe, maybe not. If you like Gone to Texas, the final season of Preacher is airing in August, but we could potentially continue the show and actually make me read the comics.
Oh, that would be fun.
So first we're going to start with the Hooked on Phonics section where I actually learn how to read, and then I will read the comics after that.
Apple.
Yes. So, Horror Movie Yearbook, they talked about the Critters film.
Sweet.
And some of the other films in that series, as well as also the Munchies and Gremlins and everything that's kind of like the Critters.
That the Critters, I remember the Critters movie giving me like nightmares as a child.
I can't remember if I've seen it.
It's pretty solid.
I've never seen it, but it was a very entertaining episode. They both talked about how they started watching the movie, and as the movie went on, they started realizing that everything they liked about the movie was actually in the second one.
Did they touch on the Gremlins 2 Key and Peele skit?
No, they didn't.
Because my God, that's one of the best Key and Peele skits.
It's a fantastic skit. So, horrormovieyearbook.com, go check it out. They talked about Critters.
Yeah. Thanks again to Jason K and Gojo for the contributions to the Patreon. As always, we do appreciate your feedback, which you can send to MidwestGameNerds@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on Twitch, as well as rate and review us on your favorite podcatcher. I have played so much of The Division.
Yeah.
I love this game. I love it a lot. It's a lot of fun. The end game totally opens up. Like, it just... Missions get harder. They make you play through the same buildings, but with they call them invaded missions.
Okay.
So the Black Tusk is the faction that has taken over these areas now to push out the hyenas and the True Sons and the what's the other one? I can't even remember it.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, but it's fantastic, man. The it's great. I found a whole slew of equipment that I really like and lots of perks that work for my build, and the ability to specialize at the end of the game is pretty rad. So I'm using the survivalist specialization, which allows me to have a crossbow that shoots exploding arrows. Pretty rad.
That's cool.
The only thing that sucks about the specializations is that your ammo is hard to find to begin with, and with the latest patch, it made it almost non-existent. So they are currently fixing that, as well as a few issues with exploiting certain projects within the game. Projects are like your weeklies and your dailies that you do. Collecting, lots of grinding stuff. The grinding isn't boring in this game. I don't find it boring in the least bit, and I'm pretty sure it just... I don't know why. I think just because the guns feel good and the gameplay itself is fluid and just like it's just great. And the music, every time you do something and music changes, it's so good.
Yeah, the music's great. I really want the soundtrack to be for sale on its own.
Yeah, I want to buy it on vinyl if it comes out on vinyl.
Yeah, I would do that. Honestly,
it's
really
one of
good.
It's one of the best soundtracks for a game I've ever heard.
That's cool.
And that's okay. So. You can't. It's hard to compare to like certain soundtracks. Like you can't really compare it to like God of War. Like God of War is like a really good, like epic sounding orchestral, like swells and things like that. This is like epic metal. Like there's some like seriously like drop C, like A flat, whatever, like gung 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 gung. Like and when it comes in, you get so hyped that you're just murdering people in the middle of the street.
Well.
And
it's not just that too. There's that cool like synth kind of stuff.
Yeah, well,
dark wave kind of.
Right, they throw in some dark wave stuff, and then they like kind of like mix them together for like songs that are like industrial sounding dark wave. Like it just does it hits on so many different types of music that I'm a fan of, and it's just everything about the game is great. People on the internet are mad because they already no-lifed it and hit World Tier 4, and they were waiting so bad for World Tier 5 to be released, and I just, like, those people are just annoying. Like,
is there any news on, like, when there's a raid thing dropping?
The raid's coming up soon, I believe, before the summer hits. If I'm not mistaken, they did just unlock World Tier 5, which allows for another stronghold. The strongholds are like strikes almost. The raid is going to be an 8-man raid where teams of 4 will have to split off and take different routes.
That's cool.
Which is really cool because they're still going to have to communicate to accomplish things.
Yeah.
That's pretty rad. Everything about this game is just awesome.
Nice.
And we're playing on PC, and if anyone listening picks it up on PC, you are more than welcome to join our clan. It is called Fun Squad.
Yeah, it has 3 whole people. We need
No, it has 2. I rescinded Corey's invitation because he was being a douche.
Oh, jeez.
I pulled it.
Brian, how's your experience with the Division 2?
I'm having fun with it, but I have more fun when I can actually play with John, and
Yeah.
he has not been available that much lately.
Yeah, this past week was kind of a fluke, but we definitely have a good time. It is a lot of fun with other people. I would like to see what the game is like with 4 people, because the amount of explosions that Brian and I are capable of making happen is pretty astounding. And if you had 4 people making explosions, it would be even better.
It'd definitely be on par with the Michael Bay flick.
Yeah.
The 8-player raid sounds very intriguing to me and almost makes me want to pick the game up, but I also don't want to do that.
I mean, there's not much coming out this summer. You might as well
I
play
got
something.
a Mortal Kombat game to play. I got to play
Yeah,
more
summer.
Sekiro.
I mean, both of those games
It's
will
going to
take
take
up,
me 3 years to beat Sekiro.
Yeah,
so-
No,
probably.
I don't think it will. From what it sounds like,
You
most
haven't
people.
played it.
I haven't played it, but most people, as soon as they get in tune with the combat system, it seems like they're able to zip through it.
I made
so.
negative progress by not playing for a week, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, it's like training for a sport.
Yeah, it's not good right now.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I actually played Rainbow Six once to try out that Rainbow is Magic thing.
Yeah.
Played
Their
Friday.
April Fool's mode, like it
Yeah.
was an actual mode. Though,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
What did you have to do in it?
It's hostage mode,
Okay.
but like the hostage is dressed up as like a bear.
Okay.
Like a toy bear.
Like a toy bear.
Teddy,
Yeah, like
and
a
it,
teddy
and
bear.
it's sitting on the ground, like waving its
Yeah.
hands and like smiling at
It
you and
is-
shit.
It's really funny.
That's wonderful.
Actually, the random guys I was playing with were like a lot of fun. They were actually talking and stuff.
Oh, that's
Nice.
good.
Yeah, it was a good match, but then I stopped playing
And
because I was sad nobody else was on.
All the skins make you look like toys.
I was
for
gonna
the
say
ops.
they had actual packs for it too.
Yeah,
right?
they have like crazy like neon green neon pink stuff you can.
Is it still
get,
live?
And yeah, until the 15th. So we should play.
Yeah, we should totally play
All
that.
right.
Yeah, it is
Sold.
only plain mode or plain the level.
Yeah.
Except it is in like kids room basically.
So
It's
kids
a
room,
toy
it's
plane.
meta. Like you have kids room, the level from the house,
Yeah.
and the plane is in the kids room on the ground as a toy.
And you're playing as a
Dude,
like a
it's
toy
so
soldier.
fucking weird
That's
to see
incredible.
it. Like when I watched the few videos that I saw of like IGN and Polygon playing it, I was just like, "Oh man, this is so cool! Why can't the whole game be like
That
this?"
sounds
Like,
awesome.
I feel like honestly this is Ricky's time to shine because the colors were really throwing me off.
He'll be immune to
yes, exactly.
the weakness. Interesting.
But yeah, I did pretty well considering I hadn't played in like a couple weeks.
Nice.
yeah, I haven't played since the Division came out. Basically,
Same, pretty much.
I haven't played anything. I went to Disney World. It was a lot of fun.
you played Spend Money, the game.
I played spend a shitload of money,
Yeah.
not only at Disney World but also on the TV that I bought before I went to Disney.
How
World.
much money did you spend on soda while you were there?
I don't know. Not that much.
The only reason I ask is because they get all of their pop for free.
Yeah, well, I mean, they made a healthy profit off of me, but it wasn't that bad.
I'd say an unhealthy profit.
Yeah. We were staying at a resort, and you could pay like $19 to have a cup that you could refill.
That's
The whole
an
time.
amazing Christian death metal band.
That's
Right.
probably a really good investment.
I didn't end up doing it because we didn't eat at the resort that much because I didn't like the food that much. But anyway,
Unhealthy profit.
Which resort did you stay at?
the Art of Animation Resort. We were in
Never even heard of that.
a Little
Sounds cool.
Mermaid themed room.
Hmm.
The beds were really, really hard.
I want to stay in the Star Wars themed one when it's done.
Yeah, they have the Star Wars world is like set to go starting August 29th.
Yeah.
So it looked really cool. I went on Star Tours 3 times. It was awesome. It made me cry the first time. I also cried when I went on Mission Space and I went on the Avatar ride, even though Avatar sucks.
Were you crying because Avatar is so lame?
I was crying because I was overwhelmed with all the magic that was happening around me, and that's all I had to say. It went into the Alex's Tears Discord channel, and
But don't forget, Avatar sucks.
Avatar does suck, but the ride is fantastic. The ride is a better 5 minutes than the whole
The entire
7
movie.
hours of the movie. So,
Yes.
But anyway,
Blade Runner is awesome.
well, and I've also determined that because Avatar made me cry so much when they actually finally opened the Tron roller coaster that's opening in 2021, I'm going to have to ride it at least 4 times before the tears stop and I can actually enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Oh
So-
my, a Tron roller coaster.
Yeah, they have it in Shanghai already, and there's videos of people going on it, and that makes me cry. So it's
Are the people riding it crying too? Is everyone crying?
it's just going to be me crying. It's gonna that's it, but it'll be worth it.
Why can't everyone cry?
They can if they want to, but I'm the only one that gets apparently emotionally affected by Tron.
I feel like you're gonna make other people cry when they see you crying.
They're just gonna be scared of why is this full grown man just ugly crying next to me on this ride the whole time?
There should just be a water ride called Alex's Tears.
Yeah, pretty much. But no, it was good. It was fun.
2024.
I had a fun time. Yeah,
It's on the list.
yeah.
Anyway,
It's actually a water park at Disney. Anyway,
that's it for what we've been playing. What do we got in the news feed?
we got a
This
whole bunch of news, including news that we've been waiting for a long time.
Such as No Man's Sky is getting full VR support on PS4 and PC.
Yes.
Yes.
This is incredible.
Guys,
Brian, how
I'm
mad
coming
are
over
you?
to play this.
How mad are you got rid of your Oculus?
I'm not really, because I think I'd rather have the new one that's coming out.
Okay.
But yeah,
So
I'm a little disappointed.
Hello Games is putting out an update called the Beyond update for No Man's Sky. It's coming out this summer. It's going to be free, and one of the things that they are adding to it is VR, and it will support not only PlayStation VR, but it's also going to support the Vive and the Rift on PC. And it supports the Move controllers on PSVR, so you will be doing things like opening up your hatch with your hand and closing your hatch and starting your thrusters and all of that stuff.
I'm sure on PC it'll support the touch controllers and all
Exactly,
that too,
yeah. So
whatever Vive uses.
it looks like it's going to be
It's
pretty
pretty
awesome.
much what we wanted from the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh, there's more to this update that's awesome as well.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like more of a full-blown multiplayer experience, I guess.
Yes. I don't know if they have.
When you're mining for
So-
minerals now, you have to make a shake weight motion. And while you're doing it, all the stuff on the screen sprays on your face.
It'd be sweet if they supported the aim controller, so you could have your gun down to the side and like
That
pull
would
it
be
up when you actually needed to use
Yeah.
it. But that's probably not going to happen. So.
Can you have all three running? Like, can you have both moves and the aim controller like connected at the same
Yeah,
time?
I don't see why not. That's only 3 different controllers
They
out
just
of.
need to figure out how to implement that
Yeah.
because it'd be sweet to use the aim controller as your multi-tool.
It would be. But no, yeah, they had a whole. So yeah, the first component, No Man's Sky Online, was announced a few weeks ago. Dramatically updated multiplayer experience means players will be able to explore and play together like never before. So that seems pretty cool. I'm glad they're still doing awesome stuff with this game. And once again, I will probably try it out for a few hours in VR just to see what it's like. And maybe I'll stick around more this time.
When I revisited No Man's Sky and I picked it up on PC, I played it more that time than I did when I first got it.
It sunk its hooks into me more, but I ended up leaving it for something else that we were playing for the show. So
Probably more Rainbow Six.
probably, most likely. So yeah, that's cool. No Man's Sky VR coming later this year at some point in summer, and we're looking forward to it.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
The worst kept secret found out on a thumb drive left at Medieval's Times with a bunch of porn. Gearbox finally announced Borderlands 3 at a disastrous PAX panel.
Yeah, you were saying it was like cringeworthy, like fourth grade presentation.
Yeah, like it was. Not only did Randy Pitchford try to do some magic because everybody knows how big of a Magic fan he is, but on top of that, they had to like play the trailer 4 times in order to like get it to not stutter.
Oh my god!
And then not only that, but he was like, guess we can't rely. We're gonna have to bring our own equipment next time, right, guys?" And the whole crowd booed them because like it's a PAX crowd. Of course, they're gonna support the PAX people over Gearbox. But Borderlands 3 is a game.
Yeah,
it's gonna come out in like September, and it looks like more Borderlands.
I'm sure I'll enjoy it. I'm not excited for it, but I'll play it because I liked the other Borderlands games.
It's been long enough since I've played Borderlands 1 and 2 that I think, I'm down to play it.
I want them to dig down into more of the differences. I know this one apparently has like there's like extra planetary travel. You can go to like a different planet, and
yeah, that's pretty cool. It looks
stuff like
there's
that.
New vehicle types and stuff too.
It looks like there's an actual like city, and like it looks
there's
like
a
there's
couple of planets or something.
Yeah, so it seems like there's much more varied locales at the moment, but I want them to drill down into like, all right, what has Gearbox learned from Destiny and The Division and all of these other loot shooting games that have come out?
Watch it just blow them out of the water.
It might, or maybe it won't. Maybe it's literally just Borderlands 3 and it's just more Borderlands, because that also feels like a real possibility and is kind of disappointing.
Is it disappointing though? Because like that, I feel like the Borderlands games have such a huge cult following that like people wouldn't be that upset about it.
I mean, like Nick and Gojo will have a great time because it's more Borderlands. It's newer Borderlands. I'm sure they're going to be doing things different enough for people that are already fans of the game. But I honestly want to know what the evolution of Borderlands is. Like, I've had the Borderlands experience previously, and I want to know now what Borderlands in this generation actually means. So I think it'll be interesting to hear more about it. But
do I get to play as John Goodman in there? That's what it looked like.
I don't really know. I think there's 4 characters again, but I don't know. They have a little turret that has legs, like a running turret, apparently.
That big mech thing they teased looks pretty cool.
Yeah,
it all looks pretty rad. I'm not gonna lie. And yeah, if there's anything the Borderlands games got right, it was looting.
The other thing,
guns with legs, that's pretty cool.
The other thing I did hear is that with co-op, instead of having to split loot, because that's what you have to do currently in like Borderlands 2 when you play together.
Everybody gets their own instance.
Everybody will you will be able to switch between whether or not everybody gets their own stuff or
so like games that came out before Borderlands.
Yes.
It makes me wonder, like
Diablo 2, for instance.
Will you get better stuff if you have to split it, or do you get
that would be an interesting trade-off. I don't think they really spoke to that.
Honestly,
I'd be okay with that.
I think the loot system in The Division is probably the best.
Oh, it's
because
on point.
Everybody gets their own loot, and you have up to an hour to trade shit with people.
That's cool.
Yeah. Because like I like different guns than John likes.
Yeah.
So when he gets like a bolt action sniper rifle, he'll give it to me, and I'll give him whatever he likes.
So that's that's a little bit of the loot splitting stuff.
Yeah.
But it's still.
Lately, I've just been scrapping everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
I need the mats. I need the mats all day.
It's nice to have Gearbox in the news with something that isn't weird and gross and dumb. For once, so
it's nice to see Jason Schreier not destroying a company.
Maybe they kind of rushed this announcement. I mean, I wouldn't say rushed because they've been developing it forever.
Yeah.
But they finally decided to push it out the door.
Like, we need people to stop talking about Randy's thumb drive at medieval times. Yeah.
Ugh.
No. Yeah.
I just imagine him like. Never mind. We don't need to get into it.
Honestly, you should go. Yeah, don't. But people should go watch a little bit of the PAX presentation just to see how like.
Where did they do the announcement? Like, because we didn't see any like games announced like that when we went to PAX. Like, how did we?
It was a panel. Like it was a.
Oh,
panel
they did a panel.
Yeah, they did a panel at PAX that people could go to. So. It would have been something that we could have gone to if we were there this year.
I hope we go next year.
But I'd love to go. It made me really sad seeing people's Instagram stories and stuff this year. So
It was a good time, but it didn't work out this year.
Yeah. So cool. All right. Next up, Kotaku ad.
Brian.
Sega will release the Genesis Mini on September 19th. This is the real deal this time instead of that, was it AT Games?
Yeah, the garbage you see at Bed Bath & Beyond.
Yeah.
So.
The Beyond shit.
Yeah.
Is it gonna come in this like OG box too?
Yes.
With like the
yeah.
join the 16-bit revolution
Yeah,
text. And
I
everything?
kind of
'Cause
want one of these.
It's beautiful.
Like, I don't have either of the Nintendo ones, but I think, like, honestly, I probably spent more time playing Sega Genesis than either of
We
the
certainly
Nintendos.
did.
You know what none of these companies have done though is they should have allowed the use of the original cartridges on these machines too.
That would be cool.
Well,
Like load them, like have it be your emulator system setup, but also like load them up with the games you want to load it up with. But what if people want to play more? Like for instance, like I'm assuming Phantasy Star 2 or 4 is on this thing. Most likely.
So there's going to be 40 games, and right now they've announced 10 for the US
Right.
version.
So, for instance, you've got Shining Force on there. The first Shining Force is fantastic.
Yeah.
Shining Force 2 is even better. But are you going to get a chance to play that? Possibly. We don't know yet. But that's the sort of situation where, like, it would be great if you could actually just, like, actually find a copy of the game and throw it in.
That's an engineering issue, honestly. Like, the hardware they use to do this is basically just emulating this stuff in software. It's not designed to run cartridges. They do sell those. There's
They're
a company
essentially
that
like
makes those.
Raspberry Pis that can be programmed to do whatever you want them to do, right?
it would make them more expensive. Like,
That's fine. I think if you actually had like the true like backwards
so if you
compatibility
want to do
of
that,
like,
you should look into something called a Mister, which does let that
There-
type of thing happen.
There's another one I just saw come out. I cannot remember the name of the company that makes them, but it's like $200. But it is beautiful, and
Yes. No. I am seriously considering buying
they
one of
run. Yeah, they have a Sega version. They used to have one that was, that ran Nintendo games or Super Nintendo games, but they just came out with one that runs Sega Genesis games and Sega Master System games.
So it's the company's name is Analog.
Yeah.
They made the Super NT, which is a Super Nintendo that plays at 1080p. It's not.
what
They say it's not emulated, but it is. But they're emulating it on a hardware level.
Yes.
They're basically emulating the chips that are on the machine with something called an FPGA.
Dude.
Yeah. This
So-
is a real thing, and it's a slippery slope if you get into this stuff, I've heard.
They have all these really cool
What?
looking things. But the one that's coming out
That's so
this
fucking
month
cool.
is the Mega SG. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
And it
It
takes.
even has the old school controller ports.
It's got the old school controller ports. They put a headphone jack on the Sega one because the Sega Genesis had a headphone jack. It's expensive though. It's like
I think it's $200.
I don't think it's 200 because I would not have spent $200.
This one
on
actually,
these.
it supports Sega CD2, but it does not support the 32X. But nobody
Dude,
cares about that.
that's rad.
$189.99, and they have different region ones that you can.
It
I
doesn't
think you
come
can-
with the controller either.
No, it does not come with a controller, but they do have these sweet 8-bit DOE wireless controllers
Dude.
that are $24
or you
bucks,
can use
$25
old
a piece.
Sega Genesis
Well, so here's the
controllers.
thing, like, this is gonna sound funny. My friend Ketchup, that's how he usually likes to be referred to.
Okay.
Has been collecting cartridge games like ever since he got his own place, basically. So he showed me a picture of his room of games, and he's got duplicates of a bunch of stuff. I think it's
Yeah.
kind of ridiculous, but that's where I would hit him up and be like, "Yo, dude, let me buy some dupes off
He's-
of you."
he just becomes your Bally's video.
Yeah,
yeah. Go
Hey
to
man,
and
let
rent
me
a
borrow
game.
this. And he would, oh yeah, okay, John.
No, I really want this, but we should go back. So Sega's working with a group called M2, who's the people that have been making the Sega Ages games that go
Okay.
out on Switch that you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
buy. And they do a great job with the emulation, and they're putting out an actual mini console. For some reason, the US version comes with the 3-button controller, and the Japanese version is going to come with the 6-button controller.
What?
But I assume,
I can explain that.
Okay.
Americans are stupid.
Okay.
Oh.
All
They
right.
they can't handle 6 buttons.
Fair enough. The 6-button controller is far superior for
It's
many
more
reasons.
comfortable. It
It's
has
got more
6
buttons. Yeah. The D-pad is it's a higher quality D-pad
It
as
has
well.
the mode button.
Yeah, I mean
which
the
I don't
old
remember what
3-button
that
controller, like you felt like you were holding like a really large sandwich.
Yeah.
Whereas like the smaller one like actually was more form fitting and comfortable all around.
The Genesis controller, I mean, it's not a terrible controller anyways.
Far superior to the Super Nintendo one in my opinion.
I do like it.
I agree. So the 10 games that are coming out on the US version that have been announced out of 40, we've got Altered Beast, Castlevania Bloodlines, Comic Zone, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, Echo the Dolphin, Gunstar Heroes, Shining Force, Sonic the Hedgehog, Space Harrier 2, and Toe Jam and Earl.
Surprised Vector Man isn't on that list, but
It could be by the end of the.
because this is these are all they've announced.
I'm not surprised that Moonwalker's not on the list, but it fucking should be because it's the best game that's on
won't
the console.
be, man.
No, it's not.
MJ's been canceled by the
know,
world.
I get it.
Shame on everyone.
I get it. Let's see what else. So in Japan, they're selling it for 2 different versions. You get one with 1 controller or one with 2 controllers. It's about a $20 difference. The U.S. version is costing $80. I don't think we get the 2 different versions.
It looked like the U.S. one comes with 2 controllers though.
See, now you have me doubting whether or not this is actually the box art of it, but I thought it was.
I hope it is.
I don't know.
Because that is like the original box art.
Instead of giving you 1 controller for that amount of money, they just split the buttons between the 2 controllers.
It's the same amount of electronics.
Yeah.
See, that makes sense too.
But yeah, no, it's exciting. I'm actually more pumped about this than I ever was about any of the Nintendo ones because, as
Hell yeah.
Brian said, I actually played the Genesis, so it should be cool.
I like that it looks like the OG one and not the redo,
Like the updated
the
one?
square
Yeah.
one. I
Yeah,
didn't like that
the
one.
smaller guy.
That one was. Does it have a headphone jack?
Yes.
Awesome. Because that was
no.
one of my favorite features of the original. Genesis.
I don't know if the new mini one has a headphone jack or not.
Okay, that's what I'm wondering.
Hopefully it does, and hopefully it's got the little headphone volume slider
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
behind the controller here. But yeah, no, it's sweet.
Pretty cool.
I just want to play Shining Force again.
Yeah, man. So good. I have it on my phone.
Yeah, I used to too. All right.
Next. All right. This one's a lengthy one, but we'll cut it kind of short. So Jason Schreier wrote this massive article about Anthem and how BioWare went wrong with it.
I admit I haven't read the whole thing yet.
I did read through the entire thing.
it.
And I mentioned this in the chat, but I just find it astounding how much of a game they were actually capable of putting together for launch based on the notes in this
All the
article.
setbacks.
Because holy cow, man. And yeah, if there's ever been, I mean, part of the article says, like, you know, or it was part of Jason's response to the response of the article is that he's heard from multiple other people from different studios saying, hey, if you were to put my studio's name in here instead of BioWare's, it would be exactly the same story. And that's just crazy to me that, like, I mean, I think about how miscommunication and things like that work, you know, a lack of leadership and things like that work in my current, you know, workspace. And it's just like, it's aggravating from multiple viewpoints. And I can't even imagine like being in a company of that size and having that like little direction to work off of or decision making or just, I just can't fathom being in that position.
That big machine.
Yeah, like
I mean,
it's astounding.
Overall, it seemed like, well, at least the gist that I got from skimming over it and like reading certain parts in detail is that it's a relatively sympathetic article. Like he's just talking about how, like, the state of the company and why people. Or why the game ended up that way,
right?
Like,
Right.
Not like
Not
blaming, not
yeah.
pointing fingers, like blaming specific people or blaming EA necessarily.
But that was BioWare's response to the article was that they felt they weren't going to actually respond to it because they felt it unfairly cast ill perceptions of specific people within the company, and they didn't want to be a part of that. They didn't want to I can't find words right now. Like, I want to sound smarter than I
They didn't
actually
want to
am.
dignify it with a response, essentially, because they felt like it punched lower and called out specific people,
Well, I mean,
whereas
no.
it doesn't fully do that. But
What I meant to say is, like, I feel like the point of the article is to just point out that there's something wrong with modern game
to tell you that
development.
it's hard to make video games.
Yeah.
Well, there's that, but there's also, it's funny because somebody in the comments, I don't remember if it was this article or the follow up that he released, but there was a comment that was like, "Why are you calling out BioWare for this? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, you ever write about stuff like this?" And Jason Schreier responded with his response was literally 15 links to other stories about like bad practices in the gaming world.
Well, and
he wrote a fucking book about it. Like, that's what Blood, Sweat, and Pixels is about.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, as soon as you posted this article, and I haven't read it yet. I'm fully planning on going through. Dude, it took me
it took me at least 45 minutes to read the whole thing. Like,
I heard them talking about it a little bit on Giant Bomb, and when they were talking about it, I was like, this sounds like the same article that he wrote about Destiny 1 back in 2015, because he wrote an article talking about
he wrote about Rockstar,
how hard it was for them to make a level, and they had to render it and wait days for it to open up in the program so they could make any kind of changes to it for Destiny. And it's like, It feels like they're making video games with tools that weren't meant to make video games.
Well, there's that.
I don't get it.
But it's like Brian said about it being a sympathetic article in the sense that, like, you have these communities of players who they get these games. It's not anything what they wanted it to be, and they just lose their fucking minds on the internet and turn into awful people, and they say awful things about people who really care about this project that they worked on.
Yeah.
And here you have Jason Schreier writing an article being like, hey, like, I know you're mad at this company, but you need to understand what you're dealing with here, and there are actual people behind it that are being affected by the shit that you say. And that's it popped up, like, the mods on the Anthem Reddit were just kept jumping in and being like, yo, guys, like, slow your roll. Like, the devs can't do anything. They can't respond to you on here because they're busy trying to fix the fucking game.
Yeah.
Like, have a little bit of sympathy for what's going on here and just back off. And, like, the internet being the internet and being what it is, and the collective mind of hatred. And, they can't. So, the article's fantastic. It's definitely eye-opening and interesting to read. And I mean, like you said, it's similar to that Destiny article. It's similar to the Rockstar one he wrote. He's literally written 15 other articles about this same topic of, like, bad working environments in the video game world and toxic work environments in general. And it's something I think, like, we need to be thanking him for being an actual journalist in the world of fucking journalism, where it's commonly just disregarded as, like, an art form, because he does a great job.
I mean, I think, like, shedding light on this type of thing will definitely help companies try to change how they develop games, and it'll be better for the employees and better for the end result.
I mean,
for
we can
the
hope.
consumers.
Well, there's been a lot of people in smaller studios that have often chimed in with, like, I'll see somebody like Patrick Klepek, who worked with Jason Schreier for a while, and like, was at Giant Bomb and is now at Waypoint, and somebody who very much cares about, like, the ethics behind making video games and what's going on in that work culture. He'll post a thing that's like, hey, we've heard a lot in the past few days about how horrible it is making games at these big companies. What are some of you smaller guys doing? And then all the people that he used to talk to from Giant Bomb and, like, all of the game makers that are in with that group of people will come out of the woodwork to be like, here are the things that we do, the work policies that we have in place in order to make sure that we don't have people there crunching at any point throughout the project, and yet we still make our project and get it out the door. And I think there's starting to be this shift of what's going on here, and we've got games video game news outlets starting to unionize. People like Vice and Waypoint are unionizing over stuff like and the more that we get to a point where these bigger game companies can start unionizing and having, like, a voice in how their workplace treats them,
I mean,
the better it's going to be.
In addition to having to worry about, fans making death threats to them and stuff, these developers also have to worry about job security all the time. It's not a very secure field to be in.
And on top of that, you're going to burn out because you're going to have to crunch for like
It's not healthy.
No.
Yeah, and I mean, clearly as a no-lifer sitting in front of your computer 24/7, you don't really understand what it's like to work in an environment like that, so you can shove it straight up your ass.
Yeah. So.
I mean, that's not healthy either. You should probably get outside once in a while.
Yeah, so you don't get scurvy.
All
Anyways, if you haven't had a chance, read this article. I'll try and link it in the show notes if I
EA
remember.
has responded. Casey Hudson came out. The director of the game came out and responded as
He
well.
didn't officially respond, though.
Well-
He released a letter to staff, which was then leaked to Jason Schreier.
Okay. So there have been some follow-ups, and it sounds, at least to me, like EA wants Anthem to be in a good place, and that's very encouraging, considering where we thought it could have gone up to a couple weeks ago.
I mean, and to touch on that real quick before we move on, like I think what they have, again, like I'm astounded by what they were able to put together in 18 months after working on this game for 7 years. The fact that what the iteration of that game that we are currently playing took them 18 months to put together, which it's crazy to me. The place the game is in right now, it's not perfect. We all know this, but it is a fantastic building point for them to launch from.
Yeah.
So hopefully the community will have as much patience with BioWare as they've given Destiny, and they've given Diablo, and they've given The Division, and all these other looter shooter games like this.
Yeah.
You know, they deserve it. Give them a chance. You gave everyone else a chance. Don't just discount BioWare at this point.
Yeah.
So, anyways, moving on.
All right.
Prince Harry wants to ban Fortnite.
Yeah, so so he was at a YMCA, an event at a YMCA in West London, and he said, regarding Fortnite, he said that game shouldn't be allowed. Where's the benefit of having it in your household? It's created to an addiction to keep you in front of a computer for as long as possible. It's so irresponsible. It's like waiting for the damage to be done and kids turning up on your doorsteps and families being broken down. And he said that social media was more addictive than alcohol and drugs.
Now,
So,
I don't remember the exact statistic, but I believe Fortnite was stated in over 47 different cases of divorce in the UK at some point as being a reason for divorce. I could be...
I'm pulling it up right now. This is an article on
5%.
fortune.com. According to Divorce Online, a UK-based online divorce website, the video game Fortnite Battle Royale has been cited in at least 200 divorce
it's going up.
petitions filed through the site since January. That's about 5% of the divorce petitions the website received in the same period. So, yeah, I mean, I guess it's the same. Like, people get divorced over gambling and stuff, right?
Yeah, it's
so
the
why
same
not
thing.
Fortnite?
But so you guys, well, Brian kind of was like, why are we talking about Fortnite in our chat? And
Yeah, because none of us care about Fortnite.
my basis for bringing this article up was that it could lead to much wider spread ramifications of banning video games, which in America at least I believe have been deemed some form of free speech and art. So I think we're okay on that constitutionally, but this could affect like the rest of the world because of all the countries in the world. England's invaded at least 177 of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's Prince Harry, so what's really going to happen? Like, the royal family is not, they're just old people that
He's making a bad name for them with this.
sit atop the hill.
I mean, they're just there to look pretty and make babies.
Yeah, pretty much. And so I mostly it made me think, like, what did his wife say to him that he needed to like come out and be like, look, I'm saying things that I've changed and I'm not going to play Fortnite anymore.
Or maybe she's addicted to Fortnite.
Oh, maybe.
Also possible. Very true. Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't think anything too crazy is going to come of it, but it certainly feels like it's part of that conversation for loot boxes and gambling in video games and uncapped spending
Gambling in
and
real life.
But okay, so
It's all tied
we haven't played Fortnite in a long time, but it's my understanding that they haven't necessarily the loot box thing isn't as big in the game anymore because you buy the battle pass and you know what you're getting.
Assuming you play a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
That's where the addiction part
you
comes
also don't. I believe you get V-Bucks if you buy the battle pass, which in turn allows you to get loot boxes, is my understanding. Because there's more loot than what's just included with the battle pass, of course, right?
Sure, there probably is, but what I'm saying is, for the most part,
here's
like
three guys talking about a game they don't play as if they know what's going on with it.
It's my understanding
someone chime in.
that you at least have a better idea of what you're getting with the battle pass, which is the whole thing you're investing more money into anyways every season, quote unquote. Each season is a new battle pass. I don't see this, to me, isn't any different than somebody subscribing to like HBO Go and paying $15 a month for that. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
but you still like, I don't know. I've never won a round of Fortnite. Do you get V-Bucks for winning a round of Fortnite? I don't know.
I don't think so.
I'm gonna Google right now. What happens when you win Fortnite?
Ask Ninja.
All right.
I think it just says congratulations.
What do you get when you win Fortnite? I don't know what Google.
You're just gonna fall into this wicked
2017. Blah blah blah. One thing. Nope. Just tell me. Do I get V? All right. Never mind. This is bad podcasting. But anyway, the battle pass isn't that. There's got to be more of a reason for you to give money, unless they went and said we're not doing loot boxes anymore. But
yeah, I don't know. But
I'm just gonna Google Fortnite loot boxes.
Because everything you Google brings up facts.
Yes, everything I read right here is true. So loot boxes are changing in Fortnite Save the World, which is not the Fortnite thing that people care about. Fortnite puts an end to random loot box purchases. Okay. So paid randomized loot boxes, they're getting rid of those as of their next update. This came out in January. This is just the Save the World
more
mode.
Popular Battle Royale mode does not use paid randomized loot boxes.
Okay, well that's good. Then I guess it's a different thing. I don't know. If you can't put down Fortnite and spend some time with your family, like...
Maybe you shouldn't have a family.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Maybe
get
you should,
divorced.
like... it's just...
There you go. We solved the problem.
Like, I don't understand. Like, I like video games, but if I was going to have a kid, I would want to spend time with that kid, right?
I don't know.
Unless you didn't mean... If you didn't mean to have that
if I
kid.
teach him how to play...
Don't tell Megan I said that.
If I teach him how to play Fortnite, then he can get me more V-Bucks.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, child labor, right?
I think that's probably what I'm looking forward to the most when I have kids is I'll have a teammate all the time. Yeah.
Well, that's the problem with us is we're going to have children that hate video games.
You think so?
Like, we're going to be cursed with that fact.
Oh, man, that would be so sad.
Our video games are our children are going to like sports, and it's going to suck.
Oh, God. What do you mean you want to go to baseball practice?
I don't know how to throw a ball, Jimmy.
You're going to have to play catch with the wall.
Here, let me put on my VR helmet and see if I can simulate it.
We can play pool in Sports Bar VR.
Here, let me call up Uncle Alex so he can bring his over.
Oh, man. Then the kid will grow up wanting to be in bars.
Oh, man. Just to play darts poorly.
Yep. Anyway,
let's talk about Sekiro.
There was a change. Sony's no longer selling games at retailers with like digital cards that you can use to download the game. They've also now made it so that you can get a refund for a game you've pre-ordered. You can also get a refund for a game that you have purchased but not yet downloaded.
Just sounds like they're looking to get all their money through the PlayStation Store.
Yes, but it's a step forward considering you could not get a pre-order canceled or refunded or
but
any game.
They do not
refunds
charge back to your
anyway.
card. It just goes into your wallet.
Yes, so that's the thing.
Annoying.
You're paying,
so they still have your money.
Yes, they still have your money, but you were probably going to spend it anyway, so who cares?
Exactly. Who cares?
There's other stuff that's happened in video games, but we're going to move on.
Yes.
Moving along. Sekiro.
Yep.
Shadows Die Twice.
We talked about our initial impressions 2 weeks ago.
Briefly, yes.
We have more brief impressions.
Yeah. We have played a total of a few hours more than we played last time we talked about it.
That is correct.
So, Brian, why don't you start?
Okay. Well, I've gotten basically nowhere in this game. Like, especially in comparison to my progress in Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3, which I at least got, maybe a quarter or a third of the way into those games. Yeah. I like the base combat. I'm still a big fan of. I feel like it is more fair, especially like I was reading an article and it dawned on me as to why one of the reasons why I feel it's so much more fair is because you are not always completely stuck in an animation. You can cancel out.
Yeah.
And that makes a world of difference. Because I mean, like, if your reaction time isn't necessarily perfect, you still have a chance to correct yourself somewhat. And I just feel like the parrying and stuff makes sense to me, whereas it didn't make any sense to me in Bloodborne.
Yeah, parrying with a gun was a very weird
I just
concept.
completely avoided parrying for pretty much all of Bloodborne,
which was possible in that game and seems
It's not
somewhat
possible
impossible
in
in
this
this game. Yeah.
which is why I feel like a lot of people find it more difficult. Is like everything in this game is there for a reason. Like, you can't really play it your own way. You can't over level. You just have to actually learn the systems and get good at them.
It's kind of convenient for me. Like, I heard a lot of people talking about that phenomenon and how like it taught them to play the game differently. This is how I played most of Bloodborne when I played any of it, and any Dark Souls that I've tried to play is very much a stealthy approach when I can, or just an approach of like, I'm going to block and stay out of the way and look for windows to attack, rather than like, trying to brute force or do the thing of, like you said, over leveling, because you can't. There's no
you
don't
skip the part where you miss a whole mechanic in the game.
Yeah, don't pick up a gun because you don't see it sparkling on the ground. Like, yeah. But, so I couldn't parry in that game because I didn't have a gun ever.
What's parry? Like Perry Mason?
Oh man, that was a good episode.
Classic.
You guys made me lose my train of thought.
Sorry, that's my bad, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. It's gone.
Just the gameplay is what we're talking about. The parrying system. Okay, cool.
It's still gone. No, the way that you have to play Sekiro is very much like what I tried to do in Neo. Neo's very much like this as well. It just seemed like you needed to take your time and be more defensive, and that is very much what Sekiro seems to be molded around in their eyes, which hasn't been true. I was gonna say, the skill points that you accrue by killing people in this game go into a skill tree. They do not go into stats.
Yeah.
Your stats, for the most part, are locked in place. You can get certain skills that make you heal more when you use a healing item. You can also upgrade your health bar and get more health in that way. But you can't just put all of your blood echoes into your posture bar and make it so that you can get the crap beaten out of you.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way in this game.
I miss Neo.
So there's no way for me to just go and grind out the same 5 enemies that I know how to kill just to kill the one huge dude that I don't know how to kill.
I actually feel like the majority of people I've read writing about this game, be it through Reddit or Kotaku or Polygon or whatever, nobody's made Neo comparisons at all.
I don't think that many people. People
feel
played
like,
it.
I feel like nobody played Neo, and I think you really fucking missed out if you didn't, because that game's fantastic. It would have been a great way to kind of train up for this game, I think, from what it sounds like.
It definitely feels different than Neo, but
are there different what are they called, stances?
No, there's not.
Really?
Yeah,
I find that interesting.
It's the combat is even more streamlined than Neo is, and Neo is kind of streamlined. I mean, it's not really streamlined. It's very similar to
because Neo
Souls.
has like a whole move set. Like, there's different
for people.
and it depends on which weapon
The
Anybody-
weapon you're using, the stance you're in, like whether the whatever.
If you're out there listening to this and you played Sekiro and are disappointed that it's not more Souls-like, go play Neo, because that's the game that you should be playing if that's what you wanted out of Sekiro, I think. That's my opinion on it.
Yes and no. The only reason I'd say it's not quite the same is in the sense of Neo doesn't have as much of an open world. You're choosing spaces based off of a map system. Kind of not the same.
Well,
because part of the fun of Bloodborne and Dark Souls, and I haven't played Sekiro yet, so I don't really know, but part of the fun of those games was finding, like, as you progress through a particular area, finding these secret paths to make it so the next time you have to roll through, you don't have to fight 30 hidden dudes.
Sekiro makes that a little easier with the grappling hook and the fact that you can just run around on roofs. I'm disappointed in the fact that people seem to see you pretty much all the time.
Yeah.
Which kind of defeats the point of getting up high
and trying to be stealthy.
Yeah.
I'm
also disappointed in, like, I haven't even seen a real boss yet. I've seen 2 mini bosses.
Same here. Yeah, I've defeated a couple mini bosses.
But my problem with the mini bosses is they're surrounded by ads. So every time I want to go retry to fight them, if I fail, like, I don't think they'll be too hard. It's not going to take me, like hours, I don't think, to kill a mini boss. But I did fuck up, and I need to retry. But I just quit the game because I didn't feel like going back and, like, trying to separate all the ads out to defeat them just to try to kill the boss again. Because fighting multiple people in this game is, like, you can do about 3 at a time, I feel, pretty easily. But beyond that, I just don't understand what you're supposed to be doing. Other than, like, the windmill attack constantly, or the whirlwind attack.
Yeah. So 2 things about that. One thing is that I feel like the ceramic shards that you pick up that are kind of like the pebbles from...
like the dust or the ashes, you mean?
No, there's like... They're called ceramic shard, and it's like a piece of an urn. And if you throw it, it makes a crashing noise, but it does not work the same way that, like, a pebble did in Bloodborne.
Huh.
It's very different. It doesn't work that well for me, so I don't know.
I haven't tried those.
How it's not, like, am I doing it wrong? I don't know. I have no idea why it doesn't seem to work. It's the tool you're supposed to use to draw people to you and start picking out of that group. I just haven't figured out how to do it well yet.
Yeah,
because you can't
separating them out is pretty difficult.
You can't even really aim the way you throw them, so I don't quite get how that's supposed to work.
The one thing that is nice is, like, it's very easy to get out of a fight.
Yeah,
it's very easy to, like, I mean, even like that. I was fighting that drunken guy with and, like, he's a big dude, but you can, like, you can kite him and take out all the other enemies if you're careful.
Yes.
But, like, just the idea of having to redo that every time to fight him is just...
Well, the other second point that I was going to make is that there is a skill in the skill tree that will give you health back if you kill somebody with a death blow.
Oh, nice.
So that's where I feel like having those ads around to recover a little bit of health might eventually be helpful.
So I should probably, instead of killing all of them off first, I should kind of leave a few stragglers.
Theoretically, but I don't know how viable that is, because obviously it'll make the fight harder if you have more people around.
I don't think it'd be too bad if it's not the guys shooting flaming arrows.
Yeah, that's fair.
Those are hard to predict that they're incoming, if you're busy fighting another enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, visually, it's quite nice on PC, too. It has some cool fire effects and stuff.
I played a little bit yesterday to try and get my muscle memory back. As I said, I haven't played the game in a week, and I was still having hitching issues even without streaming. So I don't know what my problem is, but it's not indicative of everybody's performance on the game.
I do not have any issue.
I know that there are people with base PlayStation 4s that are very unhappy with how the game performs.
Yeah.
And I assume it's probably pretty similar on Xbox One base. But
get good and buy a Pro, dog.
But even then, like I've heard on the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro, they're both not particularly well performing, and that's a bummer.
Get good, Sony, and make a better, more professional Pro model.
They will, and you get to buy it like next year, 2 years from now. But yeah, no, I lost all my muscle memory for this game, and it totally took the wind out of my sails. Like, I feel like I need to start it over again to, like, slowly build back up to where I was at.
Yes, the RPG conundrum.
There's part of me that's like, well, maybe I should just go back to Bloodborne, or maybe I should play some Neo and start that. Like,
I have definitely considered going back to Bloodborne, because I feel like I learned I'm not quite sure what, but there's something about playing this game that makes me feel like I would do better.
You'd be better
going
at
back and playing those
Yeah.
games.
Maybe.
Part of it is, I think, the fact that I know how to get to all the bosses without fucking fighting the other ads.
Yeah.
There's always a way to do it.
Yeah.
Apparently not in this game.
Yeah, it's certainly an interesting, like, that is the same, the drunk guys where I'm like, that dude has a shitload of people around him.
I will say the plus side is in this game, pretty much all those ads are one-hit kills if you know what you're doing.
Yes, that's true.
Except that I don't know how to fight those shield guys without using the prosthetic, and the prosthetic only has a limited number of uses.
Yeah.
That upsets me too. I don't like that mechanic.
Well, but if you hit the shield guys with the axe, then
Yeah, but you can't use the axe if you don't have like ammo for it.
yeah, but usually there's only like 2 of them around so far. So, and if you use the axe, it destroys their shield, and then you can death blow them usually right afterwards. Yeah. So, the other thing I will say, John, and that it is kind of like Neo, is that this kind of a spoiler for people, maybe, but if it is, those people
We're
don't
in the
listen to our
beginning of the
podcast.
game, and it's been out for a couple weeks, so
Yeah.
I don't think we're spoiling anything.
There's an actual flashback that you go to play in this game that isn't connected to the overall contiguous world.
Oh, that's cool.
And so it is a little bit more like Neo in that sense, although Neo is much more like level based, and we have an environment for you to run around and kill people and that type of thing. But it is a very different, it feels like there's more of an attempt at an overt narrative rather than you get to speak to this dude through a window that you never actually see. And
Although there are dudes that you speak through or speak to windows
True.
through
also true.
that you can't see.
But I feel as though I have a better grip of what story is happening in this game than literally any other Dark Souls, Bloodborne, anything like that. So that's been interesting to say the least. And I think I'm going to stick with this game more. Probably Mortal Kombat's my next off-ramp in a couple weeks here. But I at least want to play it more. Start doing my streams again. Some Sekiro.
Right on.
But no, it's good, and I think it's neat for them to change up the formula as much as they have this time around, and see how people have liked it and fought against it, and what they don't like and what they do like, and I think it's been a fun experiment so far. I don't think there's anybody that's like outright pissed.
I wonder what they would do making another Kingsfield game.
Yeah, that'd be pretty weird.
I just I remember Kingsfield being like one of the hardest games I've ever played, and with the technology we have now, a new Kingsfield game would be pretty rad.
Austin Walker from Waypoint is dying for them to make like an Armored Souls game.
Ooh.
Kind of, I like every time he says it, I'm like, what about the Surge? But I don't think that's even like on his radar. So
Armored Core is definitely one of the hardest games I recall playing. I think I played 4.
yeah,
See,
And it was
the
just
Surge,
ridiculous.
the Surge is
it's just like
straight up-
sci-fi Dark Souls, right?
Whereas like an Armored Core game would be cool in the sense that you're dealing solely with projectiles for the most part. I don't think there weren't very many like melee weapons. So like getting button timing down to like dodge missiles and shit would be like really fucking cool.
That'd be pretty interesting.
And just having, well,
God damn it, Brian.
I guess it kind of makes sense because like the Souls games all kind of have like tank-like controls in a way. So putting you in a giant mechanized robot would be pretty similar.
It'd be weird going from Sekiro, which feels a lot more fluid. It feels more fluid, not a lot more fluid. But
Yeah.
Are you gonna pick it up at any point? Do you think you're kind of?
I'm so hooked in the Division. It's hard for me to even fathom thinking about other games right now.
That's fair.
Like I want to play all of the Division. I want to no life the game, but I can't no life it because I have a life that I have to actually participate in. So
you're trying to no life it as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, I just want to play it as much as possible because I'm enjoying it. And it's been a while since I've had a game do this to me, other than Rainbow Six. So
I don't know how to quit you.
Ironically, they're both Ubisoft games.
Yeah.
And if they somehow incorporated some Rainbow Six shit into the Division universe, I would be so pumped.
We did
you
skip
have your
over.
arm patch.
Yeah, I do have my Rainbow Six arm patch, which I have the I think it's like the dust your shoulders off emote where I can dust off the patch to like
That's
show
cool.
people.
Did you? There was something about the next Assassin's Creed game being.
Oh
hidden
yes,
in the Division.
there's an Easter egg saying the next Assassin's Creed will be
Vikings.
Viking based.
Well, I mean the current. Yeah, it'll be Viking based. I was thinking God of War for some reason.
Oh.
Yeah, Viking based Assassin's Creed, which could be kind of cool, I guess. I don't know what to expect from that, but
Yeah.
but yeah, man, if I could just like, if I could dress up like Smoke in the Division or like Mute, that'd be sweet.
That'd be pretty rad.
Or like any of the operators, really. I mean, yeah, Division's rad. So.
Yeah, I think I've been playing more of the Division, honestly, just because Sekiro, I feel like I need a larger chunk of time in a row to play it. Like, I need to sit down for several hours.
Yeah, those games are Saturday morning games where you wake up kind of early and you sit down, you play it for like 4 or 5 hours, and then you like take a break and eat lunch, and then maybe you come back to it. But if not, like you're satisfied with how much time you put into it. You know?
Yeah, it just doesn't start clicking immediately. Like I have to get back into it.
I've kind of been. When I was streaming, it was like I'd play about an hour because that was about as long as it would take for me to like end up dying and having to like go back and kill a bunch of people to get back to where I was. So that has also kind of worked, but I don't know. Like it, I feel this huge urge to start over, even though I don't need to, and I should just try and power through it. So we'll see, but I'll at least pick it back up where I was on stream and try to get through some of that. Maybe I need Zach to come on and Sherpa me through my experience. Tell me what I'm doing wrong.
Give you some of the Zach buff.
Yeah.
He's probably already finished it like 4 times.
Probably.
Well, that being said, if you want to follow us on social media or see other places you can listen to or watch the show, check out MidwestGameNerds.com/links. The Midwest Podcast Network now has a Patreon. The Patreon is meant to benefit all the shows on the network. Meant to benefit all the shows on the network. You can subscribe. I'm having a tough time, man. I did bring a beer. It's in my car still, though. You can subscribe for as little as $1 a month and
it's
help
not open,
keep
though.
our shows
He wasn't drinking
alive
and
and well.
driving.
No, I wasn't. It's very much closed, I promise.
That's good.
Check it out at mpn.bz/Patreon. Thanks again to Jason K and Gojo for the contributions. As always, we do appreciate your feedback, which you can send to MidwestGameNerds@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on Twitch, as well as rate and review us on your favorite podcatcher. Also, again, just to reiterate, we are Twitch affiliates now. We could use your free Amazon Prime subscription that Amazon gives you. If you haven't done so, link your Twitch account to your Amazon Prime account and subscribe to our Twitch page with the subscription button, and we will get a portion of that monies. So yeah, something to think about.
Mortal Kombat is out on the 23rd, which will be after our next episode. So we'll probably be talking more about Sekiro and The Division again, if not some other stuff. I did want to pick up the Iron Man VR game because it's been getting really good reviews. So I might check that out too. But John hates Marvel, so.
I don't hate Marvel.
Yeah, you do.
I'm just marveled out.
Uh-huh.
I'm no longer marveled.
Were you ever marveled?
Yeah, I mean, I was into, like, I liked the first Iron Man, the second Iron Man. I always liked the X-Men movies. Those were cool.
Well, that puts you in a very small category of people if you liked the second Iron Man.
I thought it was fun, but I know it wasn't a very good movie. They wrote it, like, on the spot or whatever.
Yeah.
But, you know, I found it difficult to keep up with all the movies. I don't like the fact that they got rid of Edward Norton as Bruce Banner, because I like Edward Norton a lot. And
I do too.
And it was my understanding that he had written out like an extremely large treatment of what he wanted a Bruce Banner Hulk movie to be, and they basically told him to fuck off, and that's why he didn't continue with the role.
Yeah.
Which, why would you ever tell Edward Norton like not to do something? Like, dude's amazing, great, one of the most amazing actors of our time. Great writer, great director. Like, let him do what he does to your thing, and he will do magic. Like, he's a talented motherfucker. yeah, I can't. I'm marveled out, man. There's too many movies now for me to keep up. I like the Deadpool movies; those are cool. Again, kind of tied to the X-Men universe, which I favor over the Avengers personally. But
I think we can end the podcast now.
you can add this
Anyway.
after the credits or whatever. I don't know.
it's fine.
But
I might check out Iron Man for the next podcast. If not, write in. Let us know what you want us to talk about.
yeah, do it.
We want to hear from you.
We want to hear from all of our fans.
Ask us questions. MidwestGameNerds@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Do
I
it.
think.
Send us emails. Hit us up on social media. Watch us on Twitch when Alex plays Sekiro.
Yep.
And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Peace.